Support for Three Legs Four Wheels is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 8 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code 3L4W at manscaped.com. Now, if my maths is correct, that's round about 16 million balls, give or take. We'll do a full review of the product next week once we've had a chance to use it. But don't forget, manscaped.com, use the code 3L4W. And now, better do a show. Hi and welcome to this week's Three Legs Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Sean
and
Kieran.
You were that good last week, we'll let you back.
Thank you. There are several countries around the world who vehemently disagree, but grateful nonetheless.
Shall we start by talking about Canada?
Do we need to insult Canada? I don't think we need to insult Canada, do we?
No, they replaced him with Logan Sargent.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, Canadian Grand Prix. Not a thriller, but not as dull as people were making out. I don't think.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I kept nodding off immediately. I watched it about 1 a.m. in the morning. I kept sort of just slowly dropping and coming back up. But that wasn't because the race was dull. I think it was all first half was good.
I know what you mean. It was all right. It held the attention, but this time next year when we're talking about, the Canadian Grand Prix again, probably won't remember what happened.
No.
I mean, we'll be able to say Ferrari managed to screw a strategy up because they completely ballsed up qualifying.
Yeah, but then did all right in the race, as we'll come on to.
Yeah. Notable moments, there weren't masses.
No.
Someone in the wall, a crazy overtake that didn't work, which I imagine we'll talk about in a second.
Pit lane entries that defied expectation.
Yeah.
If the top three highlight is Lando might have cut up Alex Albon in the pit lane, we're in for a short podcast.
Tell you what, everyone, go subscribe to Patreon because we had some great stories on that. Patreon.com/3legsfourwheels from one currency unit a month. Let's go. Do the usual team by team thing, and I think we'll have to start with AlphaTauri because neither of them scored any points, did they? No.
Where did they finish?
De Vries was 18th, last classified runner.
Yes.
And Tsunoda was 3 places below his usual. He was 14th.
So De Vries had that weird sort of incident with Magnussen, didn't he, where they both went into the runoff. And then I think De Vries found reverse quite quickly, but had a Magnussen behind him, so couldn't go anywhere. And otherwise couldn't tell you anything about his day.
He tried to. I think Magnussen was trying to pass him on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
De Vries then was defending, locked up, couldn't turn, went straight on. K-Mag had to go straight on, and they just both went down the escape road.
It was all a little bit Hamilton, Rosberg, Austria, minus the sparky front wing, really. It felt like it was Magnussen was never going to overtake him on the outside, but De Vries, it was as if De Vries never knew that corner existed.
Yeah.
Because he was going to stay ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he had the best line for it, and he was going to get into the second part of that chicane first.
Yeah.
It was mindless driving by both of them. I won't say brainless. I think both of them just had a momentary lapse of brain cells.
Yeah.
Yeah, brave but stupid from Magnussen, and stupid from De Vries. I don't know how he didn't get a penalty for that because Magnussen technically he didn't do anything wrong yet. Another half a second, he might have creamed into the left-hand side of Nick De Vries, but I'm surprised De Vries ruined Magnussen's race, and then it all got a bit Waitrose supermarket on a Sunday morning after that. Everyone tried reverse at the same time, and it was all after me, no, after me, after me. I thought that would, in the current penalty sort of era of Formula One, I thought that'd probably be 5 seconds for Nick De Vries, but no. Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed very unsporting.
Yeah,
which we'll definitely get to. Other than that, I mean, all you can say every week just about the AlphaTauri is the car is an absolute shed, and Tsunoda appears to be at least getting something out of it occasionally.
I love the term "absolute shed," as if a shed wasn't. We've upgraded from absolute shed to shed, guys. Yeah, it's crap, isn't it? It's not good.
Nah.
We're very much in that sort of is Russell good or Latifi bad thing with Tsunoda. Is Tsunoda actually, has he stepped it up this year and it turns out he's actually half decent, or is Nick De Vries much worse than we ever gave him credit for, and Tsunoda's not that great either, and the car's better, for example? I think probably apart from maybe the Alfa Romeo, it might be the weakest car. Because I don't think. Well, we'll come to Williams in a second, but I don't know. I'm not convinced that Tsunoda is all of a sudden the greatest driver of all time because he's parking a couple of 10th places here or there in the worst car. Yeah,
it's a tough one to call.
Yeah, it is very difficult to judge because I think we were expecting more from De Vries, weren't we, because of the result he got last year, but that was against Latifi, who we know was a bit shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, Canada.
At Monza. I mean, my favourite term for Latifi last year was, and he can't use it now because he's not there, is watching Latifi in Formula One. It's like jazz music. You've got to look at the overtakes he's not making.
No, I think we described him as everybody's second favourite Canadian barrier botherer.
Okay, so you had 7 minutes for insulting Canada.
I mean, you can insult Canada as long as they apologise afterwards. I'll stop. I promise. I'll stop.
What was that you said about Shania Twain? You think she's a bitch? Bloody hell, that's.
No, I said last week she was part of the most Canadian thing that I had ever seen.
Oh, the Grey Cup halftime show. Wild.
Yeah. Shania Twain, dog sled, Mounties, snow, Tim Hortons field.
Yes.
It doesn't get more Canadian than this.
Yes.
And it's something that in other circumstances, not Googleable.
Can we talk about Haas? Just to move away from this. Right, great timed qualifying lap for Hulk.
Yes. Aside from the bit where he didn't slow down under a red flag.
Oh, I thought he was going too slow under a red flag.
Was it too slow? I thought it was too. Yeah. Aside from that bit.
Yeah. And then lost out on pit stop strategy in the race.
Yeah.
Absolutely done in by the safety car.
Yeah, which is a bit of a shame. Even if the Haas had stayed on the front row, you're not sitting there going, here it is, it's the Nico Hülkenberg podium we've all waited for. He was probably going to be lucky to get a 7th or an 8th or something.
Well, I mean, look at when Magnussen got pole in the Brazilian sprint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he went so far backwards that he reversed into Daniel Ricciardo's speeding car. Yeah, it's not a great race car, is it? And the bigger problem for them is that Magnussen's not a great qualifier, if you take out what you just said about Brazil. So they're a bit
But again,
stuck.
he managed to... He looked into it because of weather.
Yeah, again, so the Haas is good in the wet, essentially.
Or Haas have got good strategists who can actually predict the weather and when the rain's going to get worse, unlike most of the other teams.
Yeah, like Ferrari. 14 time or something like that. We'll come to that. Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed because I don't know. I didn't actually see the penalty until the next morning for Hulkenberg, so I wasn't really aware of what that was for. I didn't see the clip.
It came through immensely late. I think it was about. I think it was sometime round about sort of 8-9 o'clock Montreal time.
They had quite a few to get through, didn't there? There was lots of blockings and impedings, and
Yeah.
Carlos Sainz generally dawdling through a corner.
How did he only get one penalty?
I think did he get a telling off the first time?
Yeah, I think it was. I think the first one was a slap on the wrist, and then the second one was a 3-place grid drop.
Right. Yeah, that's some laps you couldn't tell if he'd actually moved the whole way round the circuit for the next incident. He just stayed there, like you used to on like F1 98. And you go, oh, someone's coming, left, got him. Yeah, just so. Anyway, that's Ferrari, isn't it? But yeah, I'm a little disappointed. House. I expected a little bit more if they had front row in the wet quality.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been a different race if it had been raining.
Yeah.
But, I mean, whatever happens this year, it's still an improvement from 2 years ago.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
everything is, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, they're not quite full-on rock stars yet, but they are definitely out of the wanker column.
Yeah. Again, on the I was about to say wankometer. On the wankometer, playing tonight at the Dublin Castle, 6 p.m. They're not good again, and we're going to see plenty of Gunter Steiner going, "Oh fucking hell," in this year's, but not in a bad Scottish accent. Instead, in Drive to Survive this year, you're going to see lots of sort of random swearing, aren't we? But they're not bad. They're just not there.
They're just not brilliant. They're a bottom of the midfield kind of team.
Yeah.
Right, where does that put us next? Any other teams that didn't come away with any points? Yeah, it's going to be McLaren,
It will be
actually.
McLaren because of the penalty.
Yes. An unsporting Lando in 13th and Oscar Piastri in 11th. Lando had a few things to say after the penalty was dished out. Because, what was it? He was only 3.8 seconds at worst outside his delta.
Yeah, so this was he was going slow because Piastri was ahead of him on. This was under the safety car, and Piastri was ahead of him on the track, so he was hanging back so that they wouldn't have to double stack. Was I think the issue?
That's what they thought, but then he officially denied it in an interview with Sky afterwards.
Definitely
so it
happened
definitely happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they didn't tell him to pit until he was halfway down the back straight.
They didn't tell him on the radio. Isn't there something on the dash that they can?
Yes.
Yeah.
But we've seen those sorts of penalties before with. I will say that Lewis did it to Danny Rick in Bahrain some years ago, and he got a penalty for it. It's happened before, but I think they've got the safety car delta for a reason, and surely they'd recognise if they fall out of it. So, yeah, I don't know. It's an instant penalty, so it's a surprise if they aimed purposely to fall outside the delta just to give the driver in front more room and think, if we get a 5-second penalty, we'll make it up later. Yeah, McLaren, not guaranteed.
Yeah, because I mean they've got the showed on the in-car that the driver actually sees the delta on the dash and how close to it they are.
Yeah,
and he even said, "Oh, you can see I'm only 3.8. The driver's 10 seconds outside." And it was like, well, they'll probably get penalised for it as well if they get found out.
Yeah, very much if they did it, why are they not getting a penalty? Why am I getting it? Yeah, it's a little bit of a shame. Lando's started to get a bit more. He's going towards the sort of I'm confident I can say I'm pissed off sort of thing, which I don't think he would have had 3 years ago. But I guess that comes with age and experience. He's it was a poor weekend from him, I think.
Yeah, I think he could have. He could have come away a lot better than how he did. And I don't want to see Lando going down the constantly complaining route.
No.
Because,
we're not there yet.
Yeah.
No, he's not gone full Grosjean.
He has got Austria, hasn't he, coming up, which is one of his favourites.
That's where he got his first podium.
That might cheer him up.
Yeah. Yeah, he did that fantastic drive through the field as well in the sort of last 10 laps of Austria one year, didn't he? But made his way up. Yes, he's. I don't know. He had a really good qualifying this weekend. It felt like, and then it just fell apart on race day. Partially again due to strategy with the whole pit under the safety car thing. I can't believe that he ended up behind Stroll and Bottas. But is that down to the penalty?
Yes. So I think he was ahead of them. On the road.
Yeah, he crossed the line in 8th behind Albon because nobody could overtake Albon.
No.
But everyone was that tightly bunched in the DRS train behind him that he ended up 13th.
Yeah, poor weekend from Lando. The car is probably about good enough for around 13th at the moment, but he's better than the car. I think he's better than 13th place in that car.
Piastri got an 11th. Any driver on the debut now is going to struggle because they're going to be held up with the more recent debutants. You know, you had Verstappen and Sainz starting in the same season, and look what they did in year one.
Yeah, well, Sainz, I thought his Formula One career was going to end at about 2017 when we're saying before we hit record he was essentially swapped for an engine. At Toro Rosso and Renault back in 2017. I thought that was him sort of done, but it does happen. They do come through.
But we haven't had good debutants for quite a while.
I don't know. Norris, Russell and Albon all came through the same year.
Yeah. I mean, Albon had his struggles.
Yeah.
Yeah, we nearly lost him full time. When you look at the current crop of rookies who've come through, Latifi was Canada poor. You've got Logan Sargent, who there might be an F1 driver in him somewhere. We're probably not seeing the best of it at the moment. He's still learning. Nick De Vries would have been bad 10 years ago, I fear.
Well, he beat Latifi in F2 the year that Latifi got his F1 seat, and yeah, just no one quite knows why De Vries didn't.
Payola?
Money would be the reason.
No, it's peyote I'm thinking of, not peyote.
I don't think that's why Latifi got a seat. I don't think that's what his dad's import business is about.
Yeah, I thought it was ham.
Anything's peyote if you try hard enough.
I've got a story about that which I'm not repeating on air.
Does it involve your parents?
Yes.
You've repeated it on air before.
Oh yes, on the Patreon, which they don't listen to.
Speaking as a fan, I remember that one.
Many stories involving your parents are memorable, to be fair.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it's purely down to money that Latifi got that seat. Daddy's 200 million. Is it a ham that he does?
Yeah, I think
it's food imports, isn't it? I think the ham is probably in there.
It started out with pre-packed meat.
Okay.
And then I think
which is what a sentence.
I think we've just found this week's title.
Started out with pre-packed meat. Oh God, I'm sweating.
Stop looking at Blackie Lawless's stunt crotch. What was I saying? Yes. I think the Latifi money came from the food importation industry. Of course, if we're talking about terrible drivers that got brought in, Mazepin. Just why? And I have
Sorokin.
Oh Christ! I've forgotten about him.
Yeah, he was that one season wonder, and everyone. But the wonder was.
Why is he here?
Wonder what he's doing there.
We're sorry, Sergey. Your career hasn't taken you off. We're replacing you with a guy who was last in this sport 7 years ago and has a dodgy left hand. Okay, cheers. Thanks for that.
And I have to say it, Mick Schumacher couldn't make the move.
No.
Although if the Daily Mirror's to be believed, he may well be replacing Logan Sargent.
Yeah, it's the rumour that won't go away.
So, big capital if that.
Well, the thing is, I think Williams actually admitted it themselves. Logan Sargent is in F1 a year too soon because he was third on their list. Because originally they were meant to be getting Piastri. Until...
Oh, everyone wanted Piastri though, didn't they?
Yeah, well, yeah, until the great Alonso.
Yes.
He got absolutely Alonso'd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finding that out at 9 o'clock in the morning in the middle of Liverpool when you've just got off a plane and recorded the podcast the day before. That was great.
That's as Tuesday news as they get.
Yeah.
Oh wait, or was it? Was it Monday?
It was a
news?
bloody
Or
Monday.
Monday. Or Sunday.
It was a Monday morning. We recorded it on Sunday and we were flying to Amsterdam that afternoon.
Bastards. Why did what? Not you. I mean Alonso in that sense.
But yeah, the plan was that Alpine were going to loan Piastri out to Williams for a season or two until what they thought was going to be Alonso's retirement.
But even then, Logan Sargent wasn't the great hope of last year's F2 grid.
No, but then Williams wanted to sign De Vries and Red Bull got to him, or Helmut Marko got to him first.
Yeah.
So that left Williams with a choice of another year of Latifi or Logan Sargent, who was the only driver that they had in the academy.
You're not taking Roy Nissany. Taking Roy Nissany.
Even then, didn't Logan Sargent have to not get a penalty or something in his final F2 race because it would have dropped him down the order far enough that he wouldn't have got his super license? There was definitely some kind of man must not crash situation.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, because after everything that had gone on, Williams obviously still couldn't announce it because it wasn't confirmed that he would actually have had enough points. I think he needed to finish fourth in the championship,
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, not get penalised, and
I think you do get an extra couple of points on your license if you don't crash or you don't get more than so many penalties or something like that.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
that was it. He needed to go through an entire season without getting even a drive-through to get extra points or win the last race or something. And he just drove round in 10th on both races that weekend and just stayed out of everyone's way.
Yeah, I'm coming nowhere near you. Oh, someone's coming up to me. Stay away from me, please.
Unfortunately, he appears not to have got out of the driving round slowly and staying out of everyone's way.
Yeah, does he realise he can stay next year even if he gets a couple of penalties?
Yeah. But yeah, the rumour is that they're gonna rest him and keep training him for the year and do. I think Williams are planning on doing what they did with Lance Stroll, which is getting him in an old car round F1 circuits because there's unlimited testing for those. Mm-hmm. And they did that with Lance Stroll to improve him.
And look what's happened.
He can just make a pass on the line in his home race for 10th on the road.
He can.
Yes.
In a car that's capable of coming second.
Yeah. So we'll just go back to the podium tally. Fernando, that's your 6th one. Well done. Lance, you keep plugging away, you. Go on. Tell Daddy I say hi.
Right, where next? Probably Alfa Romeo. We got Bottas in 10th and Zhou Guanyu in 16th. After what the hell happened in qualifying? Because the car died, then it didn't die.
Oh, yeah, because he had to. Was there a red flag?
Yeah, he brought the red flag out, buggered up everyone's laps. Mm-hmm. Car stops on track, and Sky were talking about this in that any car that stops on track during a qualifying session cannot take further part in the session, which, fair enough. And he stopped on track, got it going again, managed to get back round to the pits, and they let him out again.
Yeah.
Inconsistent stewarding?
You surprised me.
When is a car stopped, though? If he's just pulled over and doing a button, is that stopped or is that idling? Does it have to be like engine off?
I don't know.
Does the FIA know? Because that might be where the issue is here.
Schrodinger's.
Have they left a loophole?
Schrodinger's rule book.
Yes.
Schrodinger's Alfa Romeo C43.
I once went past Erwin Schrodinger's house in Dublin. There wasn't a cat flap in the front door. There might have been one at the back.
Hey!
He's
here all week.
It is actually true. I have been past his house in Dublin.
Yeah.
So what we actually got to see with the Alfa Romeo was right. I don't quite know how to phrase this because it's not something I've used a lot recently. Bottas on track, going fairly quickly, and not just being there to be overtaken or completely anonymous.
I mean, let's call a spade a spade. He got 10th because Lando fucked up. He's lucked into a point, essentially. But he wasn't bad. I don't know, what was his pit strategy? Did he take the pit when the safety car came out?
Yeah, I think he did pit under the safety car. And yeah, he was fairly well on the pace. I mean, because of all the shenanigans with Lando and Albon on the final chicane on the last lap, that gave Stroll the chance to get past him because he had to brake heavily and lost quite a lot of speed going into it.
Right,
which Stroll managed to take advantage of. So yeah, if it hadn't have been for that, he would have finished 10th on the road.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, that's very much a reverse of Azerbaijan 2017, isn't it? Where Bottas got Stroll across the line.
Yeah, by an absolute bare minimum. I think this one was 300ths of a second. Stroll got this one by.
That's ridiculous. A bee's wing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for Bottas, I guess. I think so because I think we need to see him sort of getting points again, because there's the big change coming up with that team sometime in the next 2 years, and are Audi going to want to keep him on? I can't see Sauber keeping him on next year at this rate. I don't see what value a Bottas brings you that, say, a gamble with a Théo Pourchaire might.
And yet he must be on a fair salary, you would imagine, for being Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah. Yeah, if they can save £5 million and get someone nearly as quick as him, they might take it.
Pourchaire likes a crash, though.
I was going to say the issue with Pourchaire is what's he going to cost in front wings?
Yeah. Yeah, he's straight. Well, what's he going to cost in hairdressers as well? I think Bottas very much takes the skim it round the side and give me a bit of a mullet, and Théo Pourchaire takes here's the Duran Duran album cover I want this week. I'll have that.
It's like Lee's comment after K-Mag had the massive crash in practice at Monza a few years back. And when he came out the medical car, they checked him over, his hair looked immaculate. It's like, Christ, did they have an emergency stylist in there? I don't see Bottas in Sauber next year. Just there's something about it which feels Vettel 2022.
It does feel very sort of Bottas retirement farewell tour.
Yeah, I mean, he's hit the I don't give a shit stage. Anyone see his helmet this week with the marmots on it?
No.
Yes, I did.
And he made his race engineer wear a lumberjack shirt because it was very Canadian.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, he's not winning a world title. He's probably not going to win another race. He might not stand on another podium. What's left for Bottas to do here, which he can't do at a triathlon or an Ironman or baristas. You know,
He's been holding like his own gin events, hasn't he, on race weekends?
God.
Right, why is everyone involved in any form of motor racing just about got their own gin?
It's important. It's very important.
Walking around the TT paddock this year, and there was at least 2 riders with their own gins.
Yes,
Yep, John McGuinness and Peter Hickman both have their own gins. I assume there was more.
probably.
Are any of them called like engine oil or, you know? Nope, I know nothing about bikes. Engine oil.
I think they were just called after the rider. I don't think they'd been that inventive with it.
No,
Okay.
no, it was Peter Hickman gin. John McGuinness gin.
Yeah.
Imagine getting to a point in your life going, finally, we've got gin brand money. What should we call it? I'm going to call it the Kieran Thompson gin. You're an idiot. You come up with... What's Bottas's called?
I can't remember.
It's not called Valtteri, it's gin.
No, I think it has got a more sort of like classically ginny kind of name, but I couldn't tell you what it is. I wasn't that interested.
No. Fair enough, Sean.
I mean, Kimmy's gin adventure was the, what was it, Iceman long drink.
Oh, that rings a very vague bell, yes.
That's nice. That's good. Seriously, that's all right.
It was G&T in a can.
Sometimes you don't have the ability to mix on the go.
We only saw it on sale in one place, and it was an indoor crazy golf centre. There was definitely room to mix there.
That's true.
That doesn't feel like a Kimi Räikkönen problem. I need something which I can mix on the go. Okay.
Something
I think if he didn't have space to mix, I think he would just drink it neat.
I was going to say, something tells me Kimmy doesn't do mixers.
No. Kimi does fall over his arse on a boat. That's what it should have been called.
I mean, there is the classic Finnish drinking joke. It's like two Finns go into a bar. 3 hours later, one says to the other, "So how you doing then?" Second one says, "Are we here to talk or are we here to drink?" And that was told to me by somebody Finnish.
Yeah. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to sort of try and say this in the most sort of
we're about to offend all of Finland.
Don't say it, baby.
It's Greg Villeneuve. It's work related. In my day job, we work with the Nordic sector quite a lot. And they're the best parties to go to, I've heard. And up until 2 months ago, I just heard it. 2 months ago, I witnessed it. Yeah, that area likes to drink and they like to party, and it's quite good fun. So, yeah.
I have heard these rumours.
Yeah.
So if anyone sort of in the vague area of the Arctic Circle needs a software engineer, hello.
I don't want to say any more because I work for a group of lawyers. They're pretty hot on this stuff.
Briefly going back to Bottas's gin.
Oh, you found it.
It's called Oath, and it's inspired. It takes inspiration from oats in Valtteri Bottas's family fields in Finland, which must be where he gets his porridge from.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you want a nice oaty gin, there you go.
Have you tried Valtteri Bottas's oats? Several Olympians have. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
But what I was about to say was, with that haircut, there's a damn good chance he will end up in supercars next season.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Not to offend all the Australians. Sorry, Sean.
Only half of you.
Yes.
You got the cricket, all right? You won the cricket.
Yeah, there's still another 4 tests to go. Right. What nationality are we going to do next? We'll insult France. We'll talk about Alpine.
Not Piastri. What's his name?
Gasly.
Definitely not Piastri. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gasly.
Right.
Yeah.
Gasly is completely and totally off the boil at the minute.
Well, no, because he had a signs in the way in qualifying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he had a few things to say about signs, but
I'm sure he did.
yeah, you'd have thought he could have rescued something.
Yeah, Anonymous. What's it? The participation award was
Yeah.
sort of Gasly or Zhou this weekend. Sort of Gasly.
I think that's it. When your qualifying gets destroyed by someone else, you kind of then need to sort of look out with the safety car, and I think he just didn't. So he didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And the most notable thing about Ocon was the rear wing.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
The seesaw.
Yeah, I mean...
Has it been noted? Was that what they decided with that in the end? They noted that it was loose.
They noted that it was moving, I think,
Oh, okay.
was the final thing, but nothing happened. But pre-race, Ted Kravitz pointed it out because he ran over a drain cover coming out the pit lane, and it was wobbling then. So it wasn't something that happened during the race. And
No.
apparently, according to Otmar, that is design.
Doesn't feel like a great design, if that's design. I mean, I'm not a rear wing expert, but it feels like if it's moving, you're probably not getting the most like stable aero from it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be fairly stable when the car's in a straight line. It just sort of moves under
I don't know, when the DRS was open, it did not look stable.
Yeah, and that's not the well. Brundle, I think, said this, didn't he? That if it came off, you'd be
Driver
like,
behind's got a problem.
Yeah,
Which Lando made that point
Yes.
several times very loudly on
Yes.
the radio.
yeah. He'd be in the whatever the river is next to the circuit is. It's really, it's dangerous to have something that wobbly at 200 miles an hour. But then they said, oh, well, the speed will stabilise it, the straight line will stabilise it. But I don't know. I quite like the non-wobbly rear wing that the other 9 teams have, as opposed to Ocon's thing.
Yeah, I didn't notice if Gasly had the same thing or not.
We didn't see enough of him, really, did we?
No.
No.
And that was Saubery performance for being that anonymous. But yeah, I think Gasly has gone off the boil a little of late. I know he had his qualifying ruined, but he's not been rapid.
It's also fallen apart since he took out Ocon in Australia. He hasn't seemed to have got to grips with the Alpine yet. And I think everyone expected just a little bit more, given at times he was taking that Toro Rosso up to 4th or 5th over the 2 years previous. It's a shame, but it's just it's I don't know. I'm not brokenhearted to see Ocon beating Gasly necessarily, but I did think I was going to be the other way round.
And I think the problem is with Renault, or the Renault group. If they have one good driver and one bad driver, that could, that might actually make them pull out again.
Yeah, this isn't the secure. Also, they're both French, so they couldn't get more. This is us. We are Alpine. We are Renault. We are France. Look at our 2 drivers. They've both won a race. We're going to be brilliant. Oh shit, he's 12th. This isn't This isn't the great thing I imagine they hoped for when they booked Ocon and Gasly.
No, because I think the whole plan behind it was world-beating Team France.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're better than Sauber.
Great.
Oh, there's one for the bumper sticker. Alpine, better than Sauber. Yeah, it's not great. But still, they're probably the 5th best team, and in the field where the 4 best teams are much quicker than the other 6, being 5th best isn't the worst thing. They just need to get both their drivers together.
Yeah. Oh, well,
But not as together as they were in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not as together with the same woman last
No,
year, by the sounds
no.
of it.
According to Ralph Schumacher.
Yeah. Still, Lee's line about that makes me laugh even at this point. You rear-ended me. Your girlfriend didn't seem to mind. Dear.
I wonder how he's getting on at Conspiracy Camp.
Oh.
Has he been abducted or probed yet?
Incidentally, one of Pierre Gasly's exes is now with Callum Ilott. In other news. Don't know if that's in any way relevant.
And next week on F1 Heat magazine.
Let's spin the wheel. Ruth Buscom's second uncle is dating Yuki Tsunoda's half cousin.
Tell you what, let's do Williams instead. Logan Sargent, very little to say about him. Got retired after 6 laps for a serious fault with the car. Didn't even find out what it was.
No, they were very quiet,
Oil
weren't
leak.
they?
Was it?
Apparently so, yeah. I think in Ted's notebook they said it was down to an oil pressure thing or oil leak.
Managed to completely and utterly miss that, and I can't remember which inbox the Williams press release goes in. Do you know what? I don't think it actually... Oh, God, it might even be spam.
Oh, no. Well, Williams...
Why is James Vowell offering me a penis in last week? Someone like him.
No, not there. Uber
Let's
Eats,
have a look, see if
Isle of
it
Man
puts me on their
TT,
website.
Magazines Direct. No.
What magazine are they offering you?
Let's have a look. Save for a limited time only on European City Breaks magazine.
Wow.
Just time for this week's guest publication.
Are they all? Are also the Ultimate Harry Styles fan pack
What?
Wow.
and Taylor Swift's Guide to Model Behaviour. Can I just point out the last time I bought anything from them, it was Retro Gamer and Classic Rock.
Taylor Swift's Guide to Modern Behaviour.
Model behaviour.
Model behaviour. Oh, sorry.
That doesn't make it any better, really.
Yeah. Right, after you've written the breakup songs about the last one, shag the guy from 1975. Yeah. Well, this is quality. I don't know where to go.
All
with
I've
this.
learnt from Williams' website is that it's James Vowell's birthday.
Oh,
Oh, James Vowell shares a birthday with our drummer.
and Boris Johnson.
Oh no, that was yesterday.
Oh, was that yesterday?
Yes.
Oh, today. My mate Athori. So
Yeah,
there you go.
but the birthday party's probably still going on for Boris, though, isn't it? So,
Birthday work event.
of course, yes, of course.
Yeah, I don't actually see what was up with Sargent's car.
Didn't work.
It didn't work. It rarely does. So then we move on to Alex Albon, who Virgil van Dijk before the knee
The
injury.
widest car on the track, I think, wasn't it?
That was so wide, David Jason could have been selling it out of a suitcase.
So he has got all the updates on his, hasn't he? Which they're not expecting to have ready for Sargent's car by Silverstone. I think
He's got the
or until
biggest-
Silverstone.
It's got the biggest update of them all of being not Logan Sargent.
I mean, there is that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic defensive performance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was no one getting past him. He said he drove in his rearview mirrors for 44 laps.
It's not bad going.
Did he only one stop in the end? Did he keep the hard tyres on?
Yeah, he kept the same tyres on till the end and
Yeah.
absolutely hung it out brilliantly. I think there was about 30 laps to go, and there was a radio call to him saying, "Come on, we want to see one of those classic Albon defensive performances." I mean, they knew what they were going to get, and yeah, get that Williams up there, and he will make it as wide as the track.
Yeah. Their highest finish in the dry since Azerbaijan 2017, which is the famous Stroll third
Yes.
place.
So, I like it when Williams do well. I mean, I've been a McLaren fan all my life, but I've always had a soft spot for Williams, just because of some of the drivers that they've had passing through. Because obviously, you know, who can not sort of love Mansell Damon Hill?
Michael Schumacher, Nelson Piquet.
Okay, with the well, what else have the Romans done for us?
I like Williams as well. The very first piece of F1 merch I had was a Damon Hill Williams shirt when I was 5. So yeah, yeah, I've always quite liked Williams. I know Flood does as well.
Yeah, I mean, they are the, or were until they were bought out, the last of the car put together by proper British enthusiastic engineers with a flat cap and a pipe in the back of a shed.
Yeah. Well, they still sort of do bits and pieces, don't they? Because they make all the, I was going to say all the batteries for Formula E. Is it the batteries or the gearbox? They make all the something for their cars.
I think it's the batteries.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's still a project there. They've still got the Heritage project as well, which Kurt Chandhok and Jonathan Stafford, is that his name?
I think so,
God,
yes.
I've emailed him. It's Stafford, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, Dickie Stanford is who I'm thinking of. Jonathan Williams. What am I saying? It's his son.
Of course.
Yeah. So they've still got a presence, which is lovely. An old school presence. They're now owned by a conglomerate, I guess, of investors. But yeah, they're still Williams to me. They're not.
The Doralton team.
Yeah, they're not Doralton Capital Racing, for example. They're still Williams.
Yeah, I mean that's a good thing that the new owners have actually kept the name. And they're not looking to change it because it's a name that's been there for God knows how long. Yeah,
and it represents one of what is essentially the golden era of Formula One, the 70s and the 80s. Well, mainly the 80s and 90s, really, with Frank Williams, someone who was respected, someone who was loved. No longer with us. It wouldn't make sense to screw them over and go, sorry, Frank. Well, not sorry, Frank. He won't know. Sorry, Claire and Jonathan. But this is now Kit Kat presents Pepsi F1.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate owners of Ferrari taking the Ferrari name off the car, and all of a sudden, everyone's wearing red and cheering on Scuderia Fiat.
Scuderia Fiat. A bunch of 20-somethings who listen to Anne Marie are thrilled that they've got an F1 team.
But yeah, great performance from Albon. Driver of the day as well on the race day poll. And to be honest, rightfully bloody so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't disagree with that.
Yeah, totally unfaultable. Right, I think team-wise, we'll be looking at Ferrari next. Right.
Christ almighty.
Right, so when they managed to completely screw over Leclerc's qualifying by not making the right pit call, and then decided not to pit but either car under the safety car when they were both on medium tyres, I was thinking, oh God, they've done it again.
Yeah. Everyone ahead of them pitted. They had two cars. They had the opportunity to split it, and they left them both out. It was like, oh well, here we go.
I mean, I've even designed a new T-shirt on our merch stall.
Yes.
Which I will put the link in with the pod, because I think this is my best creation yet. I am in no way an artist. I just want to thank Charlie Jefferson, actually, who designed the original Scuderia headless chicken for us a few years ago.
I'll try and find it. It's on our sort of chat group. I've just got this photo of Ricky Ponting now. Yeah, it's good. It's a good T-shirt.
Somebody's already bought one, actually.
One sale already, I believe.
Yeah, somebody actually bought one on Sunday during the race.
A Mr. F. Vasseur from Geneva.
But yeah, the safety car's out, everybody on the mediums darts into the pit straight away. Ferrari gain a few places by dint of not stopping, and it's like, oh Christ, they're going to be fighting for 14th, aren't they? And yet,
they sort of lucked out from the fact that Perez also didn't pit, and Perez was no good at overtaking them, but was clearly quicker than whatever the hell was going on behind him. So
Perez though was on the hard tyres to start with.
Yeah.
So I could see the sense in him not pitting.
But the medium runners, in my mind, probably should have pitted. But that's the reason I'm not in Formula One. That was clearly the wrong call. They did the right thing. They had an awful Saturday and made up for it with. You can't say it's a brilliant Sunday because it's still two drivers who didn't make the podium, but 10th and 11th to 4th and 5th is still quite a result.
Yeah, I mean, Sainz did better in qualifying when he actually remembered what the pedal on the right does.
Yeah, when he wasn't getting out of his car at turn 12 to get a photo with a groundhog or something. Oh, look, a bee. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Esteban.
I mean, it's not the first time a Ferrari's been overtaken by stationary objects.
Look, if I said this to my dad at the time, if you were Ferrari and you did one thing wrong consistently, at some point you've got to go, lads, we keep doing this one thing and they're making memes of us online and everyone's laughing at us and we qualified 10th or 11th today. Maybe if we stop doing that one thing, things will get better. Just one process change. And that one process change should have been stop parking Carlos Sainz at the chicane for everyone to try and hit. I don't know how that happened more than once. If that happens once, you go, bloody hell, that was close. Right, we won't do that again. Shall we do again next lap? Yeah, all right. Carlos, turn 12, just stop. It blows my mind that they can't look at their previous errors and go, we'll change process, because the world laughs at them in those moments.
But now
Sorry, Italy, I won't come again. It was nice. That leany thing, that's pretty, and all those water in the roads and canals, they were nice. But I won't come again. I won't come back.
I'm running out of space on the map to put the X's. Also, the Sharpie's running out of ink.
I love you, Guam.
So, next on to Team DR Congo. No.
One other Ferrariism that made me laugh this weekend was during the grid walk when, I think, was it Leclerc's car they were working on?
Oh, yeah, he'd ruined the plank, hadn't he?
Yeah, so they have all the mechanics stood around and Martin Brundle's there trying to get involved and try and sort of describe what's going on, and they're sort of shadowing him and making sure he doesn't get a clear run. And there's a good sort of 10 of them involved in this project, and he just walked straight up to Fred Vasseur and was like, what's up with the car? Oh yeah, he ran over a curb and has damaged the floor. It's like, right, so it's a top secret then, is it, if you're telling everyone? What are these 10 lads doing if you're just going to go telling everyone?
What's happened? Well, I ran over the floor's gone. My mother's maiden name is Patricia. My PIN code 716.
Yeah, they were not on the same page in their amount of information they wanted Martin Brundle to have.
No.
I mean, wasn't this all part of Fred Vasseur's thing? Not the giving away the information to Martin Brundle, but to just radically overhaul all the processes and look at everywhere where they were repeatedly going wrong and changing them. And apparently that's what he's working on. And I think it was a couple of weeks ago. I think might be a bit longer. I think it was around about the time actually of when the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix was meant to be. And he said that he'd found most of the things that they were repeatedly getting wrong. So now it was time to work on how to get them right. And something tells me that is going to be the harder job.
Does that mean at the moment they're in a point where there's stuff that's just not happening?
Well, they're not getting it wrong and they're not getting it right, so they're just not. That's it.
Yeah.
They're just not.
Yeah.
That's why all these people
Time
were stood
moves
in a
on.
line trying to block a car from sight. They were just doing nothing.
Yeah. Which is about what Carlos was doing on turn 12.
Yes.
Yeah. Poor weekend improved drastically by just doing what most normal F1 teams would do, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Ferrari actually managed to look respectable by not being stupid.
It's very much it's like in The Simpsons where Bart goes to they move the whole family off to the Cyprus, whatever it's called, the Hank Scorpio thing, and they have to say to Bart, "We're going to catch up by going slower." That's essentially what it is. Ferrari have to start at point zero and just get the alphabet right and make sure they're doing the most basic things right before they can get into the complex stuff, essentially.
Well, like gear changes at corners and things like that.
Yeah, like that sort of stuff.
So, yeah, is this the upturn for Ferrari where they're going to stop making silly mistakes?
No,
Probably not.
No, I
Probably
hope not. I want to sell more T-shirts.
we're making fabric De Niro here. You can't get them to improve. You stick the word "not" in front of the caption on the T-shirt. No, there's going to be more errors, and the thing is, they're closest under the microphone. They're at the microscope. Sorry, everyone's going to look at them for their errors. If McLaren did half the things Ferrari did, or double the things Ferrari did, they wouldn't get looked at. But Ferrari are currently on these are a bunch of clowns run.
I think it's really because it happens so often and the same things happen repeatedly. And then Ferrari make the most noise about not being happy with the way that F1 is. Like, well, when you're in a position to completely dominate the sport, then you can say you want it changing.
Yeah. Do they still get their veto?
Yes, because it actually went to a vote to all the teams in the F1 competition group, and Ferrari vetoed the results, so they kept it.
Of course they did.
Yeah, they.
I mean, that would be the ultimate shooting themselves in the foot, and they actually managed to miss this time.
The Ferrari are so useless at strategy that they lost their veto. They voted to get rid of their veto. They could have vetoed, but no. Oh, man alive. Yeah.
Turkey's voting for Christmas. Right, Mercedes up next. Lewis in third, and most of George's car didn't finish. Especially the one wheel that fell off that actually ended up being brought back to the team by a Ferrari mechanic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it. Somebody posted it on TikTok, and I think it was Axel who shared it on Discord, on our Discord. When George pulled into the pits, the right rear fell off and rolled down the pit lane, and one of the Ferrari mechanics jumped out of their pit box, grabbed it, and brought it back to Mercedes.
Oh.
Now, I don't know if that's been looked at by the FIA, but I think that's definitely into fining territory.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Wheels should not be off doing their own thing.
Yeah, I mean, as somebody pointed out after I saw it, if that had have happened in NASCAR, that would have been the crew chief suspended from that race and banned for a further 2.
And then punched by his wife's cousin. I'm sorry. I can't go.
Same person.
Yeah. I think this might be the first time anyone on the podcast is actually requesting a Jacques Villeneuve there.
I've just remembered how you insulted America last week. It was and I came out with the Larry, this is my brother Daryl, this is my other brother Daryl, and only one person got it, so congratulations, Doomy McDoombutt.
I mentioned this afternoon when talking to my mate before he came over, it's his birthday, I was giving him gifts and all that. I said in last week's podcast, I think I managed to insult my mum, and Jane walked in the room and went, "You did!" I thought, oh God, was it that bad? Christ. Oh, she'll never hear this. Pray she never hears this.
Yeah, I can't say anything. I know my mum listens. I'll tell her not to.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I'll tell her to, then she won't. So where were we? Yes. Yeah, George just lost it for a second, bounced off a curb and trashed most of his car, then ended up having to retire it because the brakes were overheating because he actually damaged the brake intakes.
Yeah.
Half decent recovery drive from him after he binned it and brought out the safety car. But then Lewis on the other hand, battling for podiums again.
Yeah. I think Lewis has been great the last 3 or 4 races. He's really got over the slump of the car isn't very good, and he's stopped overthinking things. I think he stopped winding himself up, and he's just quite happy now to be on the podium, and he's settled into that.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely improved the car. They've definitely put a lot of last year's and the first part of this season's issues with it to rest.
Yeah.
I mean, who'd have thought having side pods? Well, we said this last week. Who'd have thought having side pods like every other team would have been something that made them
a radical step?
Yeah, a radical step. Do what works.
Yeah. Everyone else has got it.
Yeah. Somebody else at Ferrari's just gone, what? But
there's a calmness to Lewis now, which we haven't seen in a while. When they had the cool down room, let's sit around on the Max Verstappen podcast and watch all the best moments from race sort of thing. He was laughing. He was chatting with Max and laughing, and that if you'd thought about what year was it, the British Grand Prix, when Vettel won and he didn't? I want to say it was 2018. Vettel won the race, he didn't, and he sulked to the point that he wasn't going to go up to the podium. It's such a different Lewis over the last few races, and I like that.
Yeah, I think that's come about just because the car's better, and he's not having to fight it anymore. No, he's now comfortable with what he's got, even if he's sat too far forward, and he's got a teammate who's probably, if not as quick as him, nearly as quick as him. He's got a lot that he's got to contend, but he's quite happy with life at the moment. I imagine he's quite relaxed to the fact that he knows that Mercedes won't win the title this year. He knows that he won't win the title. So he's now at the point where he's not so pissed off that the car's crap, but he's quite relaxed enough to enjoy it. Yeah, that could actually be the case. That does sound, pretty
or
spot on.
He wakes up every morning going, "Oh God, cards are third's quickest. I really can't believe I have to do this. That new guy's getting on my nerve. Isn't that right, Shakira?" And then he goes, "Oh yeah, okay, well, there you go. I feel instantly better." Which PK daughter am I not dating this week? It's Shakira.
Reportedly set up by Carlos Sainz.
What's such a senior or junior? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I think junior.
Carlos Sainz senior matching up. Good. I'm glad it's junior.
I mean, senior, I think, did have a stint in Real Madrid's juniors, didn't he? So he might, through his Real Madrid link, know the sort of the football side of it. And obviously, she was with footballer previously, so
and then wrote nasty songs about him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. What is it? The Strawberry Jam.
Yeah.
The Strawberry Jam. Yes. Sorry, this is the Gerard Pique thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does somebody want to explain this just for the benefit?
Was it she likes Strawberry Jam? He doesn't. She went on holiday or on tour or something. Came back. Someone had been eating her strawberry jam. Must be another woman. Classic.
It's getting Al Capone on tax evasion. Got Gerard Pique on jam.
Yeah, she's taking on Colleen Rooney for the Wagatha Christie title.
Yeah. It's the sort of material that Taylor Swift looks at and then goes scrunched up and put it in the bin. Yeah.
It might be in the Model Behaviour magazine.
Yeah, she's not reading Taylor Swift Model Behaviour magazine. Do write a hit album about your ex. Do slightly have a pop at Jake Gyllenhaal. Don't mention the jam. Never mention the jam.
Oh, we have so many choices for podcast titles. Are we going to see a Mercedes on the top step of the podium this year? I think not.
Not without hefty shenanigans.
I think we will in Brazil again.
I think, didn't they play at the Dublin Castle?
What, hefty shenanigans?
Hefty shenanigans.
They might have done. Or maybe they're on next week.
These shenanigans are hefty. Hey, that's the name of a band.
Yeah, I mean they are the third fastest car.
Yeah,
and by dint the third and fourth fastest drivers at the moment, because the second drivers in the two fastest cars aren't the fastest.
No, no, they've got the best lineup, arguably.
Out of the top three teams, definitely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have said that before at the start of this season, because I thought Red Bull had a more capable lineup based on the car.
I mean, up until sort of a couple of races ago, I think we thought that.
Yeah, I think it was the Miami destruction.
Yeah.
They had a number 12 hit with Baby I Want Your Love Thing. I'll stop at some point, I promise. But moving on to Aston Martin. I mean, we talked about the binary teams before. I mean, this is binary in talent. You know, you've got Alonso, who this is going to sound daft, but hear me out. He is now fulfilling all the potential that he's had since he left Ferrari.
Yep. He's now a quick car he's now a quick driver in a quick car.
Yeah. I mean, you know, everyone thought every bad career move for Alonso since he stayed at Ferrari for that last year. You know, he's fucked up again. Oh, just, you know, then he retires. Then he's quick in other series. You know, he was rapid in WEC.
Yeah.
The first time he tried Indy, if it hadn't have been for the engine letting go, he was definitely in with a chance of being there at the end. We don't talk about the second attempt at Indy because that was just an organisational fuck up.
Yeah, even that still upsets me. He qualified 34th, didn't he?
Yeah, because they put the wrong gearbox in the car.
Oh, that I never knew.
Oh, yeah, they put the wrong gearbox in the car. The spare car wasn't even in Indianapolis because it hadn't finished being painted.
Right.
And they sent him out for qualifying without steering wheel.
Oh, Christ. Well, I mean, they didn't literally send him out for qualifying his steering wheel. He wasn't turning the gear, you know.
No, they sat him in the car. He was at the front of the queue because they push it to the front of the queue just before you go out on your qualifying session. You don't drive out the pits. It's not like F1 at Indy.
No.
At Indy, you queue and your crew pushes you forward when the driver in front goes out.
Yeah.
So they pushed him to the front. It's like, right, go. So, guys, where's the wheel?
Oh, so this is like red flag Kimi Raikkonen.
Yeah. Oh, well, it
with probably more words, probably less.
It was only half as bad because he had his gloves. Kimi didn't. So yes, that wasn't Alonso that screwed up that second attempt at Indy. That was the McLaren Indy team in association with. Was it Andretti that they were?
I cannot remember. I think so.
Pass.
I mean, if it was Andretti, Jesus Christ, you'd expect more from them.
It was Andretti first time round, wasn't it?
It was definitely the first time. I can't remember who it was the second.
Because ironically, it was his Honda engine which failed him, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Doesn't rain but it pours.
Indy Lights engine.
Yeah. NXT.
But I mean, now we're seeing what Alonso. Well, now we're seeing again what Alonso's capable of when he's got a car under him that a rocket on the straights and a Hoover in the corners.
Yeah. He's brilliant all round all of a sudden. I say all of a sudden, he probably was all the time. He parked Van Dorn at McLaren. He was better than Ocon over the 2 years at Alpine, but we're now seeing the all-round consummate professional, cheerful, fun, nice, good-looking, Taylor Swift guide to model behaviour inductee Fernando Alonso. He's now the full package. I like him again,
and he's not made a bad career move.
On paper, that looked a stinker last year. I'm going to go from the 4th best team to the 7th. Okay, enjoy that. Yeah, he's been brilliant. I really like him again, and it's really annoying. And I really hope deep down somewhere he actually is dating Taylor Swift, and the whole Matt Healy thing is a smokescreen because it just makes me happy.
So he's being linked to some Spanish celebrity who I'm not familiar with, but Carlos Sainz is also being linked to the same Spanish celebrity.
Oh, here we go.
Yes.
Maybe Carlos Sainz is linked to that Spanish celebrity when he went to meet her for a coffee and tried to set her up with Fernando, and Carlos is actually the Cupid of the pit lane.
No, so Fernando was linked with her first, and then Carlos has been linked with her like in the last week or so. And he was linked with her more recently than Taylor Swift. It's a confusing scene at the moment.
Don't do it. We don't want an unhappy Fernando.
No.
We don't want two unhappy, whinging, miserable drivers in Aston Martin. We'll just make do with one of them.
And he definitely isn't dating a Spanish model.
I mean, Lance Stroll is the second best driver in the second best car is the best thing you can say about him.
Is about the 17th best driver on the grid. He's just...
Yeah.
I used to get really angry about Lance Stroll, and then over time I came to accept it. But the car's good again now, so I'm really angry about Lance Stroll again. He is... Okay, so... The history of that's it. It's my time, right? But I'm angry now. The history of Lance Stroll is stupid. In 2015, he was half decent in F3 before it was GP3. Before they amalgamated, he was half decent in F3, but he was very crashy. He caused a pile up at Spa. They had to stop racing that weekend because all the drivers were so dangerous. And by all the drivers, they meant Lance Stroll. He nearly took out Giovinazzi on a barrier at Monza and caused a massive flipping crash. Literally, a flipping crash for himself. But he continued in 2016. His dad paid for him to be in Prema Racing, whatever you want to call it. And half of the people didn't take part in F3 the next year because they knew Lance would buy himself his way to win. And what happened in 2016? He won the bloody F3 title. Then his dad went, "Do you want to take that money to F1, son?" And he went, "Yeah, okay." And essentially, he was crap in the Williams. He was crap in the Racing Point until 2020 when he was okay. But again, I think that was very much the car is very good syndrome as opposed to Lance is very good. He got that quite high quality pole in Turkey as well. But we're now back to the Lance Stroll that shouldn't be in Formula One. And he shouldn't be in Formula One, not because he's not good enough. I think he probably is just about good enough to be in Formula One now. But he's in year 7 of the Formula One project. This isn't, this rookie's quite smart. He's not as good as Fernando Alonso, but, he's in the second best car and he gets points every so often. Now, this is, by the time Lance Stroll would have raced as many races as these, Damon came in, won a title, and retired to go play wonky guitar with Eddie Jordan on the weekends.
And Def Leppard.
Yes, of course, he's on that Def Leppard track.
Yeah. Demolition Man. I was only listening to that the other day.
Yeah. Damon did it, and he got a world title that way. Why can't Lance Stroll go and join Greta Van Fleet or someone like that? Why can't he just go off and do his own thing of that?
He doesn't strike me as musical. I could be wrong. What we've seen of his sort of timing and general sort of, rhythm and sort of awareness of those kind of things in the car, I don't think is going to translate well onto an instrument.
On the new F1
jazz.
Jazz. Yeah. Got to look at the notes he's not playing. He's on the new F1 game. His awareness is something like 84, isn't it? Which
his awareness of what is 84? It can't be cars.
Well, he's aware that there's these two things sticking out the side of the car that you're meant to look in occasionally. He's just not aware of what to do with them.
He's aware that Daddy can pay for any issue he wants. Sorry, rant over. Yeah, I don't like it. I just don't like it.
Really? You surprise us.
No,
I mean, don't hold back. Say what you think.
That's it. Let's check who the Aston Martin test driver is. Let's bring him in. Felipe Dreyfus, for God's sake.
Yeah, we know you've got history with him if anyone's followed you on Twitter.
Sorry, everyone.
Right, you've just offended Canada and Brazil in one fell
Brazil.
swoop.
Famously, country that takes it well. So I'm not meant to be going there next April. That's fine.
Shall we move on to Red Bull?
Please. Yeah.
Quickly?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Max has now led 242 consecutive laps.
Yeah. What was it?
He's led laps over a longer period that Liz Truss was Prime Minister now.
Did they say it was Miami the last time he had a lap where he didn't lead?
Yes.
Jesus.
I mean, he's unstoppable this year. Him in that car is unstoppable this year.
Yeah.
You can't say the car is unstoppable this year because ever since the Miami destruction, Checo was just he's not been there.
Fallen apart. Especially in qualifying. He's not. Is it the last three he hasn't made Q3 rather?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not a qualifier. We've sort of known this. He's got, is it 2 poles he's had? 3 poles now?
I think it's 3 now.
2 in Saudi and a third one. Azerbaijan, was I? Can't remember.
Was it Monaco last year?
Of course, yes, it was. No, it wasn't. He qualified third that day, didn't he? He just managed to stop.
Managed to stop Max from getting pole, and
There
then
was definitely another street one, but yeah, I've lost track of his.
I'm just looking this up now.
So you're going to use a term that I nicked from you, and I say on my radio show every week, where I say, I'm just going to do some left-hand googling.
I've not used that phrase for a long time.
I use it. I've nicked it. Sorry. I know a good lawyer if you want to sue me.
Oh, apparently it was Miami this year. His third pole.
Oh,
Memorable.
And that was as good as it got.
yeah.
Did he win that race?
He did not.
No, I mean, the thing is, he got second in there, but Max just demolished any gap that he had. And then, since then, 16th in Monaco. All right, that's a blip. Fourth and sixth, but that is a car that should be first and second.
Has he only got 4 podiums this year?
Yes. Yeah, Bahrain, Saudi, Azerbaijan, and Miami.
Yeah, eight races. Clearly the most dominant car. Only half of them he's finished on the podium of. Yeah, it's falling apart a bit for Checo. It's not Gasly or Albon bad, but I'm starting to wonder if it's not Danny Rick good.
They're not renowned for their patience, Red Bull, are they? So
The problem is, if you aren't Verstappen good, you're Gasly bad.
Yeah, the middle ground isn't great, and Helmut Marko doesn't do middle ground, does he?
Not in the slightest.
And it's their race next, isn't it? It's Austria. So if you have a bad race there,
Yeah.
it doesn't look good.
No. I reckon we'll see him back on the podium this weekend coming, purely because I can't see him again falling backwards.
I think one of the things that will actually save him, how we'll see him in a Red Bull next year, is all the attention in the Red Bull driver collective swarm. All the negative attention appears to be going to De Vries. And
Yeah.
that might, I'm only saying might, save him. There could still be a chance of a demotion to AlphaTauri for him next year, and a return for Ricciardo.
Yeah.
The other thing that might spare him as well is they haven't really got a rival in the constructors, so it's not like he's costing them anything there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Lance Stroll thing, isn't it? Stroll is costing them second. He's not going to cost Red Bull first.
No, I mean, Red Bull have walked away with both titles already, and we're only a third of the way into the season.
Yeah.
What is it? Max has got a 69-point lead,
Something like that. Let's have a look.
and Red Bull are 154 points ahead.
They have pretty much double the points of Mercedes, who are second.
Right.
So, unless something goes seriously well for Mercedes or seriously wrong for Red Bull, then the battle is on for second.
I'm just going through Perez's racing record, and his best finish in Austria was 6th in 2014 for Force India. So I take back everything I just said. He won't finish on the podium next race.
Well, he's usually got a nasty habit of running into somebody on the straights there, hasn't he?
Yeah, be it Norris or be it, was it Bottas or Russell?
No, he was good at tangling with teammates on there. So, yeah, I think he needs to pull something out of the bag just to stop the slump. Yeah, okay, he got the fastest lap, but that's because he had a set of soft tyres left in a 25-second gap.
Yeah,
I don't want to sound like I'm slating him because I've admired and respected the guy since he managed to rebuild his career after being completely disassembled by Ron Dennis that one year at McLaren.
Yeah, he's far from the last chance saloon, and he's done well twice to rebuild his career, essentially, because he was being ousted from Force India in favour of Vettel, who was coming in when it was going to turn to Aston Martin, Force India Racing Point, whatever you want to call it. He was on his way out of Formula One, essentially, there, and it's only because they decided to get rid of Albon that Perez came back. So I'm sort of, I agree. The McLaren year was so shocking that he's lucky still to be in the sport 10 years later and getting poles and winning races. He won 2 this year, hasn't he? So we're very lucky to have Sergio Perez in the sport. I just think Red Bull probably could do with an assurance that they're going to. He needs to be Barrichello, and right now he is not quite Barrichello. He's Ralph.
Here's something to think on. This occurred to me. I think it was Saturday during qualifying. The issue with Red Bull second drivers, right? Is it Max that's causing this? Is it Max's? I'm not gonna say attitude, but Max's sort of drive, ambition, aggression, and mind games that cause the second drivers just to have an absolute nightmare. It's not a problem with the car, it's not a problem with the team, it's not a problem with the pressure from Helmut Marko. Is it all coming from Max? Is he the reason that he can't keep a teammate? Just by dint of what he does and how he is?
I don't know if it's Max so much as it's Red Bull. Because we saw with Vettel, didn't we, that he and Webber clashed. Webber, I think, probably had reasonable looking results on paper, probably because he had a lot more experience than a lot of the teammates that Verstappen has had. Yeah, I think it might be a sort of an organisational thing rather than a driver thing.
I wouldn't be surprised either if it's a semi-intentional as well, because if you build the team around Max, you're onto a winner. If you build a competitive car which fits both of them, that's when you get a Fernando or a Lewis sneak in. Especially given how good their car is at the moment. If you said to anyone at Red Bull, would you rather have Max be world champion and Perez finish 150 points behind, but just in front of Alonso for second place in the championship? They'd probably take that option as opposed to, do you want to both be as competitive as each other but potentially lose the title? I think you need a quick. You need Max to be quick regardless.
And I think that's going to happen whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just kind of sort of crossed my mind at the weekend. I said, has this all come from Max? But I don't know. It may have.
He probably doesn't discourage it because it obviously suits him quite nicely.
Oh yeah, I mean it works for him because he's guaranteed the number one seat in that team for as long as he wants it.
Yeah.
But, right then, Rockstars and Wankers. I have some suggestions.
Mhm.
Alex Albon, 40 some odd lap tyres and keeping everyone behind him.
Yep.
George Russell for wanker.
For driving into a wall.
Effectively,
Yeah.
we pinned that on Latifi often enough.
This is true. It's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was eventually race destroying.
Yeah.
So yeah.
yeah, that actually worked. Let's have a look. What else have we got? I'd say a temporary rock star to the stewards for not taking the Alonso and Lewis pit lane incident too far, and nobody coming away with a penalty.
Yeah. I think Fernando exaggerated that a little bit. I think Toto was slightly right with the whole.
there was very
"Ooh," you know,
dramatic sort of weaving on the steering wheel.
He
wasn't there?
he was trying to convince the ref to book him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that was the third roll in the penalty area that wasn't needed.
Yeah.
Not all that many other nominations. Although one non-F1 but still motor racing rock star, Will Power.
For deciding, but finally coming to a conclusion that Grosjean not always safe.
Oh,
Piece of crap was, I think, the exact words.
What was it? He's
used.
crap and needs a punch in the face.
Yes, and had not been mentioned previously in this interview. He tore into the track, how crap the track was, the incident he had with Scott Dixon, and also Grosjean is a piece of crap and needs a punch in the face.
And then on Sunday, I will read the tweet.
Yes,
The president of the track parked a sewage truck in front of Will Power's motorhome.
understandable. He trashed the guy's track. Yeah,
Yeah. So he moved it to in front of Scott Dixon's. Will Power actually stole a truck full of shit and parked it in front of his rival's motorhome.
Fantastic.
That is, peak level shithousery.
Yes.
A very literal definition of it.
So
Literally shithouse.
So I think Will Power definitely deserves a Rockstar nomination.
Yeah.
Another racing one, and again not F1. Brian and Jane, who were part of the 3-person team doing the 6 hours of Watkins Glen with me on Saturday. Brian especially, because he had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to join us for the race, which started at 5 a.m. his time.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a bit much.
And he did his and more than his fair share of driving.
Yeah.
And we got 11th place out of 17 in class. So
Oh, well done.
Solid.
after qualifying 16th,
Yeah.
because I screwed up both my qualifying laps. We need a Giovinazzi Participation Award.
We've not done the wankers yet.
Oh, we haven't done wankers. Well, we've done George as a wanker.
Oh, was that it?
Was there any other wankery behaviour?
Whatever prick set up the CCTV system that
Yeah.
cost
Oh,
them
yeah.
the entirety of first
Yeah.
practice.
Yes.
Or most of first practice.
Yeah.
That guy's a
I
wanker.
I missed all of this. I just read about it after the event. I went, what? They couldn't go racing because of CCTV wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it all makes sense, but yeah, definitely a wanker award there.
The TV director managed to miss the first 4 overtakes.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, God.
I think that, because, it's not an overtakey track, and I think it was the first 4 we only got to see on replays.
I want to give a wanker award to Nick De Vries for the Magnussen thing on the basis that he probably didn't need to lock up that much and it ruined both their races. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not so much a award given for Magnussen being screwed over as much as both of them.
I think Carlos gets a qualification wanker as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have got a pinned message in Discord saying Ferrari just because.
The Now TV app at about 10:45 on Ride Seafront on Saturday night when I basically flipped a coin in my head which says, heads, you stay around for Chemical Brothers, tails, you go home and watch qualifying, and you can sort of watch it en route anyway because you've got the Now TV app. And then it failed when I got to the best bit of signal on the island.
Oh, God.
So, and it's a long way back to the Chemical Brothers. So, yeah, that as well.
That's why you didn't end up watching it until 1 o'clock in the morning.
That, yes. Yeah. I literally have had about 12 minutes sleep across the last 4.
Well, you are participating, but you're not getting the participation award. Who is this week? I mean, we've had a suggestion for Stroll. Actually, Wings Triumphant has said
Stroll got a point.
participation award goes to Stroll today, and that is absolutely non-negotiable. He was absolutely anonymous. I don't think the cameras cut to him once before the end.
No, he got a point. We saw him trying to get past Albon badly.
He passed Bottas at the line, which should have been shown live. Wanker for the TV producer.
It did get shown live, but from a very, if you squinted, you saw it.
It wasn't a good angle.
Everybody was watching Lando cut through the chicane.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Your attention is diverted.
Yeah. No, I don't think Stroll was great, but I don't think he was anonymous.
Gasly for the participation
Very
award.
anonymous.
Oh, yeah.
Could not tell
Yeah.
you anything about his race, if I'm
No.
honest.
He may or may not have had a wobbly rear wing.
We didn't see enough of
yeah,
it.
we didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't see that one. Yeah, he may or may not have had a piece of toast on Sunday morning. he may or may not believe in UFOs. Sorry, Lee. There's several things we don't know about Pierre Gasly, of which includes the Canadian Grand Prix.
Yeah. I think that about covers everything for this week.
Yes.
Yep.
Right, well, thank you for joining us again. I'll do the usual stuff. If you want to help out the podcast, then you can subscribe to us on Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/3legs4wheels, as I said earlier, one currency unit. We prefer pounds or dollars or euros to be the one.
Have we checked the exchange rate before we pin our colours to that mast?
Depending on who's in government this week.
Do you take 1 yen?
I don't think so, because you have to do it through PayPal, and that's blocked in China now, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Well, it's Japan, isn't it? The yen.
Oh, sorry, it is. I was thinking the yuan. No, we don't
Yeah.
take 1 yen. It's a little bit more than that.
3 yen.
But yeah, we've done an extra show this week, and you will get the main F1 show usually a little bit early. And if we're carrying adverts like we have done tonight, even though I've not recorded it yet, I'm going to drop it in as a jump cut. Then you'll get it ad free. If you want to get in touch, the email address 3legs4wheels@gmail.com. As always, the website's there, 3legs4wheels.com. You can take part in the prediction league on there. The predictions for both Austria races are up because it's a sprint weekend.
Ooh. Exciting.
Oh yeah, it is.
So that is coming up next weekend. Well, we're conveniently away, so we're going to have to work around that. And at 3legs4wheels on the socials, and individually on Twitter we are
At Sean Cowper.
At Kieran is boring.
and at Pablo100. Lee is at Musty Audio, and Chris is at Flood21. Right, we will be back next week. The three of us, we may have a Chris, because
cool.
something happened today that may mean that Florence Nighting Flood can actually come out and play again.
Florence Nighting Flood.
I'll tell you in a minute.
Just a quick one. I think Lee has changed his Twitter handle again.
Oh, has he done it again?
I think he is now at the Lee Stevens.
Oh.
Just random thought.
Oh, right, okay.
I think he's killed off Musty Audio.
Oh, yes, because he's alien addict now, isn't he?
I think so. This week, next week, who knows?
When they let him out of the Faraday cage in the anal probe room or whatever it is he's doing while he's there. Yeah, we'll be back next week with a preview of Austria, and until then, we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.